Okay. Good morning, Deborah. Lovely to see you. So I'm welcoming today Deborah Monshin, who is going to be talking about her business. So it's lovely to see you. And how are you on this lovely winter? Well, going into winter's day.
Yeah, I'm fine, thank you. Yeah,
everything well with you and what have you.
Yeah.
So I know Deborah from doing my Roots of Life events, and she does a fascinating I know you did a talk the other week about past life regression, and you're going to be talking about what your business does today. So if you can just introduce yourself and say where you're based and what type of business you are, please.
Yeah, sure. Hello. Yeah, I'm based in Windermere in South Cumbria. I have a therapy room there that I work from. I'm basically clinical hypnotherapist, but I specialise in past life regression therapy. So I do a lot of one-to-one work with people, either looking to resolve issues or just wanting to explore who they were in a past life. I also do a lot of online workshops now. I've kind of moved over into that because of the whole lockdown situation.
So, I mean, past life regression, it's a fascinating topic, isn't it, really?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
You know, I'm really intrigued to know how you actually got into, you know, what kind of led you down that path, really.
Well, it's something I've always been interested in, even as a child. Looking back retrospectively, I realised that I had quite a lot of past life dreams. I mean, obviously, when you're sort of 6 or 7, you don't really realise that's what it is, but they were sort of quite distinct, unusual dreams. And it wasn't until I got into like the secondary school education and learned a lot more about history that I kind of joined the dots together and sort of thought, oh gosh, yeah, no, that definitely was past life memory. And there wasn't really anybody sort of talked to about that at school. You know, it's sort of considered a bit, you know, well, you just, you know what it's like, you know, anything a little bit unusual, you keep to yourself.
Yes.
And then one day I was walking down my local high street and a Buddhist just approached me out of nowhere and just said, here we are, you need to read this book. And he gave me this book on reincarnation. And that was kind of the turning point where I read it. And you know how when you read something or you see something, it's sort of like an awakening of knowledge that you already have. And it was very much like that. I read it and I just sort of thought, yes, I know this already. How do I, this is weird. I kind of understand and know this already. So it's a real flipping point. And from there, I just sort of researched and got into it and read everything I could. And then, you know, life gets in the way and takes you on a different journey. And then in about 2000, I got the opportunity to start again. I wanted a career change. And I decided that I was going to do clinical hypnotherapy. But the course I chose was one actually in Scotland that had a whole chunk on past life regression therapy. And I was sort of thinking, wow, yes, great. So that's when I really started getting into it as a therapist.
How intriguing.
Yeah, brilliant.
How intriguing. I mean, you must have come across some very, very interesting people and topics. And that leads me on to say that you actually have brought out a book as well, haven't you?
I have, yes. I've got a little picture of it here.
Oh, that's
you can see that.
So it's Past Lives, Present Healing. Fantastic.
Yeah,
so
I mean, that's...
What is that about?
It's basically 11 people's experiences of having a past life regression and using the memories and really overcoming quite serious either emotional or physical traumas that they've, and it's just totally sort of healed and helped them kind of have a greater understanding of themselves and their place in the universe as well. But I've also done, it's not just their story, I've done like an analysis of the process and the healing and why it's worked and how it's worked as well. So it's a good overview of really the benefits of having a past life regression if you've got an issue that you want to look at. Yeah, definitely.
And where can people get that from if they wanted to purchase one?
It's available on
your website as well.
Yeah, well, Amazon. I've got a link from my website, but I just send them straight to Amazon because it's available on ebook, paper book, and it's just come out an audiobook as well. So Amazon worldwide, whichever country you're in, you can go to your local Amazon site and get it from there. So that's.
And have you got anything plans in the future to be writing any more books on this?
Yeah, I've currently got 3 on the go at the moment. So depending on what mood I'm in, I kind of dip into each one. I do, one of the workshops I do is a dowsing for your past life workshop with Pendulum.
Yeah.
So I'm actually working on doing a book that kind of draws all of that information together. I think some people are interested in regression, but they don't like the idea of going through the meditation, relaxation route to get the memories, because that's by far and away the easiest and best way to do it. But you can have just as much fun getting the information from dowsing. It's a bit of a long haul because obviously you've only got yes and no answers, but it's quite a fun way to get the information if you don't want to go through that process. And also it's the sort of thing that you can pick up and get back into whenever, you don't have to have.
So basically I can actually use my pendulum and ask it questions based on, that's fascinating.
Yeah, it's quite fun. I've done a couple of workshops on that now, and it's the information that you can get from it is quite extraordinary. Yeah. It's only limited, but you really have to start thinking outside the box for the questions. I got into that kind of by accident because, again, pendulum dowsing and rod dowsing was something I've always been interested in. I used to work in the middle of nowhere in the woods down in Devon, and we used to sort of, if we had a quiet day, it was at a tourist attraction, we had a quiet day, we get our pendulum rods out and go and find underground streams and things like that just for fun. And I was looking after the car park one day, and I was in this shed, and I was just so bored because I'd forgotten my book. And I was thinking, what can I do? So I thought, I know, I'll dowse for my past lives. And literally all I had was like a plain ring and a long hair, and that worked. So I thought, okay. And I found out that I was married in Victorian times, had a lovely husband and several kids. And then my sister, I discovered in that lifetime, was very jealous. She was in love with my husband, so she poisoned me and married my husband. And within a year, she was unsatisfied with that relationship, so she killed him as well. But fortunately, she was discovered for that murder and did actually get prosecuted and hung for it. And I was finding this out through dowsing, and I thought, how did I die? So you go through all natural causes, accident, no. Okay, murdered, yes. Oh, blimey, okay. So then you go, how? Was I stabbed? Was I shot? Was I hung? And you have to really kind of think. And it got down, there's nothing. And it took me about 5 minutes to think, well, poisoned? Oh, yes. Right, how was I poisoned? Was it my food? No. Was it my drink? Yes. Okay. So then you have to you really have to break it down. So it's probably quite good for, your brain. Good exercise.
So what is your sister in this life then?
Well, it turned out that she was my best friend at school. And when I found that out, I thought, yeah, that's actually really interesting, because we were very close, and it was like we would do anything for each other, and you could see that karmic relationship that carried forward because she'd done that to me in my previous life. We incarnated together in this one to be best friends, to be supportive of each other. So that's quite interesting how the karmic
fascinating, isn't it? Yeah. So leading on, what would be the benefits of having a session with you? For people wanting to have it done, maybe on a one-to-one, for example.
Yeah, I mean, it's mainly, there's 2 types of people that come to have a past life regression. The first type of people are ones that just want to have a look. It's just an exploration. They want to, they're interested in who they might have been, and that's great. So that's like your fun side. The other type of people are people who have long-term problems. It works very, very well for people who have either addictions, people who have relationship issues that can recognize patterns. Also, people that have behavioral patterns. So, for example, if you find yourself in the same kind of relationship over the years, that's a pattern. Quite often that happens either because you're seeking a particular type of thing, and you might not subconsciously know what that is, but that person is drawn to you because there is an element of them that has what you are seeking for. Also, with addictions and things like that, quite often you'll find that the addiction has got quite strong because it's an accumulation of the problem in past lives. So it's built up to a point where it's almost unbearable. And that's very, very good for working with, particularly if you find people that have said, well, I've always had this problem, you know, say I've always had issues with food, that sort of thing. There's one of the case studies in my book was about an alcoholic and how that was, it totally just finished the attraction to alcohol after having one past life regression. It is
Wow.
just that powerful, because you could put it in context with the past life and why that created that problem. And once you've brought that problem to light and looked at it, you can sort of understand it, and there's just a huge shift takes place in your subconscious, and it just clears it. It's just so powerful.
Crikey, that's fantastic.
Mm.
You know, if it can. So, what kind of people that have got addictions? You know, is it mainly alcoholism and food issues? Is it a whole array of people?
It does tend to be people with alcohol issues and food issues. I think there's still a bit of a stigma with people who've got issues with drugs. They're very, very kind of wary about coming forward because there's a massive sort of downer on anything to do with drugs. So they're maybe not wanting to come forward and say, look, actually, I've got a bit of a drug problem. I'd like to see if this can help. It kind of depends on where the problem is, because if it's something, I mean, I remember that in this example I was saying about the alcoholic, at 10 years old, just had a thirst for alcohol. First taste of alcohol really brought on a massive thirst. It was almost like we were saying before, it was like a subconscious recall or remembering that this was something they needed. And you know, at 10, 9, 10, you don't need that. It's something that's been brought through. So it's very much a case of, if whatever issue is going on in their life hasn't been sorted out or related to an incident in this lifetime, then it's a good instance. It's a good indication that it has been brought forward from a past. So it's always good, especially with physical issues as well, physical issues that have been going on long term that haven't responded to treatments. As long as you can relatively safely say, as far as I know, there is nothing in this lifetime that has caused this problem, then go back and have a look at a past life.
And does it help with phobias as well? As in, you know, flying or
definitely, yeah, definitely can be. Yeah. I mean, the interesting thing is, when I was starting out with the clinical hypnotherapy, we were taught, you know, always get you, if it's anything like phobias or addictions, what you don't sort of go waste time go, you know, if you talk to a lot of counsellors, you used to sort of go back through the years, back to childhood, looking for what was going on in that lifetime that might have created the event. What you do in clinical hypnotherapy is you say, right, we just go to the root cause. Why waste that? Go to the root cause of the problem. You're straight in there. And I always remember I had this vicar come to see me because he had a really bad stutter, and he was going to get an award, and he had to do a talk. And he was like, I'm terrified, you know, I'm fine in front of my congregation, no problem, because I know them. But the idea of getting up and doing a talk, absolutely terrified. Every time he practiced his speech, his stutter came out. Okay, that's fine, don't worry, let's have a look at that. So I took him back to the root cause, and he went back to a lifetime in medieval times when he was harassed and eventually killed for speaking out his beliefs. So you can see where that he's afraid to speak. And I think a lot of healers have that, you're afraid to speak because of the consequences. And he obviously is a vicar. He was like, well, I don't agree with that. What was that? So it's a past life experience where you're, you know, in medieval times, you're a monk in medieval times. Oh yeah, he said, I can kind of understand the story and it totally resonates, but I don't believe in that. Okay, well, don't worry about it. Just say that your subconscious has shown you a story that will help you deal with this issue now. No stutter from then on. So it's just really fascinating that, you know, you don't always have to know what's gone on. You can just get to the root cause of it. And it can just work with it.
That's fantastic. What do you actually love about your job, Deborah?
All of that, really. Just the fact that it is such a powerful transformational tool. Just the stories that people tell. I mean, people sort of say, oh, has anybody been famous? Have you had anybody be famous? And it's like, well, no, most people have normal lives, like the majority of people do in you know, the real world, if you like. But what's interesting as well is the messages. We always go through the death experience. up into spirit and have a learning, like an overview of that lifetime, what was important of that lifetime, what was a purpose, what was the most important thing you learned. And people usually say love, family, friends, not trying to get money, trying to be rich, famous. It's fundamental building blocks of support and community, and that's really important.
It is.
And also the other thing, and the other thing that is really, really great that comes out of it is that anybody who goes through this, they're not afraid to die. And I think that is probably the most powerful thing.
Is that because they know they're coming back into another life at some point?
Well, yeah, not so much that going forward, but they know where they've been. And they kind of understand that it's a cycle. So then if you know that you've had several lives up to this point, I mean, this might be your last incarnation. You might have achieved everything, in your tick box that you've needed to experience on this planet, this realm. So it could well be your last life, but it doesn't matter, because you know that it's a cycle. Yeah, you understand it's a cycle. And I did have somebody a few years ago who, when they went through this session, we went through this lifetime into the next bit. And when she went up to spirit, she said, no, I know that this is actually my last incarnation. I won't be coming back. So how do you feel about that? Well, that's absolutely fine, because I've decided that I'm going to actually be a spirit guide for somebody else to guide them through. And I thought, that's wonderful. So she already had an idea of what she knew she was going to do after this incarnation and after she died in this last.
It's absolutely fascinating.
Yeah,
it really is. Just to get to know about you, Deb, what are your interests and passions in life?
Writing mainly. I've always written. So I'm actually working on 2 fiction books. I'm working on a murder mystery series. So I'm just starting to write the second book. Yeah, I love anything like that. I don't like the horrible gory things, but I like Midsummer Murders, Murder She Wrote, all that kind of nice cozy mystery kind of stuff, really. So I thought, well, why not try and write a series? So I'm kind of on the second book of that. So yeah, that's the main thing. I like being out in nature. It's very important.
You do some sort of gardening as well?
Yes, I started my own gardening business about 4 or 5 years ago, and that's kind of closing down now as we're coming through winter. But yeah, that's been fantastic, because I need to be outside in nature. It's so healing just being outside.
It is.
It's so important for people to just get out and have that connection with nature, with the ground. And I found that to be really good, because I do suffer from depression, particularly in winter. And that really does help, just having that connection with the soil, just focusing on your plants and what you're doing. And just weeding and just turning over the soil and just feeling it on your hands is fantastic. Yeah, fantastic connection.
Absolutely. And I think more than ever now, we need that, don't we, to go out, and certainly with what's going on in the current world and things.
Absolutely. I mean, even if you just go out and sit on the park bench and just spend some time just being still and just listening to the sounds around you, just breathing in that fresh, cool air, and just appreciating the beauty of nature around you. I think it's very healing.
It is, absolutely. I mean, the interview is going to be coming to a close in the next few minutes. Is there anything else you'd like to that we haven't already mentioned, you'd like to add, or we've covered most things?
I think we have. I mean, I've just got. I mean, I think it's all good. I am trying to do some more online workshops. I mean, at the moment
I'm going to come to that in a second, to say what you're doing and things. So what have you got coming up, and how can people get in touch with you?
Well, the last workshop this year is a pendulum dowsing for your past life.
And when is that?
And that's on the 2nd of December. I think once we get too far into December, people are sort of drifting towards Christmas. So that'll be the last one this year.
The 2nd of December, and what sort of time?
I think it's a Wednesday. It could be a Wednesday evening. It's 7 to 8:30, so an hour and a half.
Yeah.
I mean, my Facebook page is Past Life Exploration with Deborah, and I tend to post most things on there. There's a ticket link to Eventbrite for the tickets, £17 for that one. And there's no extra fees, they're all incorporated. I've got my January and February workshops lined up as well. They're available on the website or the Facebook page.
And what are they? What are the workshops in January?
They're the past life regression workshop. So that's like a we basically go through 2 meditations to access past life memories on that one, so that's quite a good one. And they're all suitable for beginners. You don't have to have any previous experience. And the other one is the dowsing one. I am going to be setting up a more advanced workshop for accessing the between life state. So what we're looking at doing is going back through this lifetime to before you incarnated here to find out what your purpose is, why you incarnated now at this particular time, because I think a lot of people are here specifically to help everybody through this very
I agree that. I think I've thought about that. Are we all here at this point to help, especially light workers?
Yeah, absolutely.
And certainly the last few years, I've always felt there's something. I think all light workers have been feeling this definitely, because we've been going through our stuff.
Yeah.
And certainly for me with Roots of Life, I felt, back when I hit 50, it was like a light bulb moment. You have, like Spirit said to me, you have to do Roots of Life.
That's it.
So it was a calling for me.
Absolutely.
And I'm really passionate about obviously providing what I do for people like yourselves and whoever else. Do you know what I mean? Because I think obviously with what's happening at the moment, I think it's going to be massively needed.
Definitely, yeah. There's a lot of very confused, fearful people out there, and I think a friend of mine put it really well, because she's got this feeling. She said, "I know I'm here to do something, but I haven't got a clue what it is."
Yeah.
And she said that she's come to the conclusion, and she's been told, she listens to a lot of channeled stuff, and she said, don't worry about it, because when you are needed, when it's your time, you will be given basically an envelope with your instructions. Your mission is in this envelope. You'll just know, like you were saying, you will just know what it is you need to do and when you need to do it.
Yes.
And that's great, because I think, like you say, there's a lot of people that feel like they're on the precipice of awakening, and they what do I do? I know I'm here to do something. What is it? Yeah. And it's just that sense of, we feel like we're collectively waiting for something.
Yeah.
And I think the stronger that sensation feels, the closer we are to that point where we will be needed, definitely.
Absolutely. Well, it's been really fascinating, Deborah, talking to you this morning about, this really, really interesting subject. I mean, when I've come along to the events, I know I've had a reading with you myself, and I recommend, anybody having one, because it is fascinating to know what I did in the past, and why now I'm on the spiritual path, as it were, I guess.
That's it. Yeah. I mean, the other thing I was going to say is I do, like you said, I do card readings as well. So you've got, if somebody doesn't want the workshop, the regression, then I do the dowsing and also do card readings of past lives. So it's all three.
So just remind people of what your website is, just so we've got that.
It's deborahmonshin.com.
deborahmonshin.com, and your Facebook page is?
It's Past Life Exploration with Deborah.
Fantastic. So lovely talking to you today. And I look forward to what future things hold for you, and what and also Deborah does quite a lot of writing, just to add, in my magazine as well, don't you? You've been doing a lot of writing for that.
That's always good.
So thank you, and I look forward to seeing you again soon.